Vielen Dank. First of all, I would like to show you this. This is me playing a golf tournament 2.5 months after an amputation. I was so happy before when we had the option to stand on one leg because I've been practicing that for a while. How was it possible that when this photo was taken, I didn't feel out of balance? Because it's a bit crazy, isn't it? 2.5 months. I felt that I had a lot of fun and my game was flowing. How was that possible? Today I want to bring you on a journey by telling you a story of how I found that challenges can be chances. How I used the power in challenges to get myself ready for change and build resilience. And by the end of this talk, I hope that you can draw inspiration from this and use this tool as it suits you to build more resilience and get more out of life. To play this tournament was actually not a coincidence. I remember when I was sitting in the hospital bed 5 days after my amputation. I had my new pink iPad in my lap. My little leg was wrapped up in white layers of bandage, and several needles were still attached to my veins. I was scrolling on this iPad, looking for upcoming tournaments to play. Es war doch klar, oder? My mother was in the room and she looked over my shoulder. What are you doing, Caroline? I'm looking for tournaments that I'm gonna play. She looked at me with big eyes and like she had swallowed something very inconvenient. I did lie to her. I didn't look for tournaments. I looked for the tournament. I scrolled faster and there I saw it. 2.5 months away. I'm gonna play that tournament. I picked up my phone and I texted my coach. In 2.5 months, I will be playing my first professional event. He called back like, exactly how much morphine did you get at the hospital? This story or example maybe doesn't necessarily apply to working in a company, but it does show you how powerful your mind is if you really set your mind to do something, how nuts it might be. I found that bouncing back from change was a skill. I didn't know this skill before. And for me, today speaking over the world about this issue of becoming mentally strong so you can master any situation in life and bounce back from change, I found that there was 2 things for me, 2 keys that became obvious and visible in this transformation. And them I speak about and I want to share them today. Because in that hospital bed, there was one thing that became crystal clear to me. And that was that it's not about the challenge itself. It's about how you view the challenge that makes a difference. So it comes down to the mindset you choose. We can adopt different kind of mindset. There is, to simplify this, 2 mindsets you can adopt. It's the growth mindset or it's the fixed mindset. Stanford professor Carol Dweck meant that having a growth mindset, you believe that all your talents that you have can be improved by hard work, good strategies, and input from others. You tend to achieve much more and you stay committed and empowered towards your goal. She also meant that having a fixed mindset means that you believe your talents that you're born with cannot be particularly improved, and you don't achieve that much. You become more stagnant in your development. So which of these mindsets would you adopt for yourself. The first key for me was choosing that, the growth mindset. To believe that what I have in the moment is amazing and it can even be transformed. It can be improved. I can learn more. That was the first key. But before going to the second key, I need to take you back with me to where it all started. I walked into the big hospital building. I sat myself down in front of my doctor on this hard chair. He was looking at me with his big blue eyes, and I froze inside. Something wasn't right. I felt a cold linger along the length of my spine, and I could have cut the air out in pieces if I would have wanted to. That's how tense it was. He said the words quickly. "Caroline, we found cancer in your right knee. Chemotherapy or radiation cannot save your life. The only thing we can do is an amputation, and you have 3 weeks. Cancer, amputation, 3 weeks. These words were so heavy. They were so filled with change. And I couldn't pronounce them. I don't know if you felt this any time in your life, that you couldn't just fit the words in your mouth. They were too heavy, too hard. 3 weeks. Everything was spinning around, and I felt myself in a big foggy cloud. A big foggy cloud of uncertainty, not knowing anything. The truth was, at the same time I got my cancer diagnose, I became golf professional. As traumatizing and dramatic you think this might have been, you are right. The whole world fell apart beneath my feet. There was nothing to hold on to anymore. So basically the only thing I could do was to stop. I stopped and I started to breathe a little deeper. We can have our breath in our throat, in our chest, underneath here, or we can have it down in the belly button. I was breathing all the way down, and I invite you to do so right now. Take a couple of breaths. Just stop and note how you feel. How do you sit on this chair? How do you stand? How do you feel? What do you do? It doesn't need a big purpose every day to just stop. And I found that this stop led to the second key that I would found that would help me get the right power to move through this. Because this stop started to clear the fog. Resilience, I would say, is a system, it's a process, and it contains 3 parts. The first is stopping and recharging. The second process is reflection. And the third is action. It's a constant process, and I was there right now in the stop and recharge one. And when we face ourselves with a moment of adversity, change, maybe it's a structural change in the company, maybe we are changing department, changing job, losing a job, getting rejected by our partner, failing, mistakes, or enter a medical condition. Directly we are faced with something that we didn't know about before, and we enter this process of resilience. Would it serve you in your life if this process became more efficient? Would it serve you in your life to have a mental muscle that is so strong and flexible that you yourself could know how to flip any situation around and realize the chances and possibilities within them? For me, the real flip happened in the reflection part. As Goethe was saying in her lecture before, being confronted by dramatic situations in life awakens strong questions. Who am I? Where do I want to go? What's important? In this reflection park, I work daily with a specific question that is so powerful. What if you ask yourself, what if life is happening for me and not to me? What's the gift? I asked myself this. What if life is happening for me and not to me? What's the gift? I held this question with my both hands. You don't have to rush the answer. Could there be anything with losing a leg that is a gift? It's kind of crazy, right, to ask yourself this question. But then I found that I would always get the blue parking card or half-price foot care. And these two simple answers were answers I didn't even have access to on two legs. I found something unique. I found something that could be considered as a gift going through this. And it made something with me. It shifted the whole situation around. And I became curious. And I wanted to start to act. I wanted to try it again. And you might think, okay, but when you're faced with such a dramatic diagnose, or when you have something so big, I am in right now in something so big, you might think, it's okay to feel these things. It's okay to move through these processes. And sometimes the bed and the cover can feel so comforting to lay beneath, to catch yourself, to stop and recharge. The question is, for how long? I had 3 weeks. For me, it was urgent to act. What would you have done with your 2 legs if you had 3 weeks with them? Resilience is a skill. You can train it. You did that right now when you took those deep breaths. You were stopping and recharging. You're reflecting on something that you want to improve. You're analyzing something, and you're moving to action. The growth mindset is the foundation of that. The growth mindset was the first key. Understanding of the process was the second key. And playing this tournament on one leg, that was a true special experience. I was looking at the grass for the first time as a golfer. I was looking at the trees. I was enjoying being there. I paid attention to the details that I haven't seen for 20 years. And it brought me to play the best golf that I have ever played on 2 legs. Creating the life that you really want requires attention and commitment to what's important. I'm not there yet where I want to be. I'm learning every single day, challenging myself, asking myself these powerful questions. And I know that every single day that goes by, I'm coming a little bit closer to where I want. Facing change. It's hard, it's difficult, and it's tough. But it's not as tough as waiting several years, not knowing what the perspective might have offered you if you would have given it a chance. Where could you have gone? What could you do? Who would you have met? Where would you be? Imagine waking up every morning feeling empowered, fulfilled, energized, ready to go get what you want. Having a strong mental muscle that can flip any situation around. And where your wishes of intention, where you want to improve, are no longer just dreams, but actually habits in your daily life. Imagining that kind of life. I challenge you. What situation today are you viewing that is not so beneficial to you, that you would like to flip around? Which situation do you choose to stop and recharge, to reflect on, and to act on? Thank you so much for listening to me.